Propping his foot up against the glass railing of the rooftop terrace, Travis Cole, Senior Operations Manager at NovaTech, leisurely sipped his overpriced latte while shooting a sideways glance at the new janitor. The young black woman, clad in a faded gray uniform and a headscarf, was bent over carefully scrubbing the floor. But to Travis, she was no different from a piece of mobile furniture. He smirked, swirling the half-full glass of iced water in his hand, and then, with an unhidden look of amusement, Travis casually tipped the entire glass of ice-cold water onto the girl's head. The water streamed down her hair, seeped into the collar of her worn shirt, and chilled her to the bone. All around the bustling lobby, people merely glanced over and quickly looked away, each pretending to be saving the world through their emails. Travis jerked his chin up, sneering, "Now you really have something to clean up, sweetheart." He strutted away his leather shoes, leaving messy streaks across the polished marble floor. That young woman, the one Travis had just treated like trash, wasn't just some random janitor. She was Skylar Brooks, the only daughter of Evan Brooks, the founder of NovaTech and the rightful heir to a $7 billion empire. A glass of cold water. A contemptuous smile. The biggest mistake of Travis Cole's life, he had just poured water over the head of the woman who would soon turn his entire world upside down. Skylar Brooks, 27 years old. A Stanford honors graduate, hailed as a tech prodigy on multiple under-30 power lists. On the cover of Business Future magazine, she posed in a crisp white suit, arms folded under the bold headline, "Skylar Brooks, NovaTech's steel successor." But behind that dazzling spotlight, Skylar was still missing one crucial thing: real-world experience from the very bottom of the company. Her father, Evan Brooks, the veteran CEO who had built NovaTech from a tiny garage during his days of poverty, had stated bluntly over dinner, "You're brilliant, but boardroom brilliance isn't enough. If you want to lead NovaTech, you need to know how to mop a floor first." Skylar nearly choked on a piece of steak she hadn't even finished chewing. "You mean you want me to actually work as a janitor?" Evan nodded, a mischievous glint flashing in his eyes. "Exactly 2 weeks. No name, no privileges, just like any other employee. If NovaTech has started rotting from the inside, you'll have to see it with your own eyes." Cornered, Skylar reluctantly agreed, mumbling under her breath, "I mean, mopping floors has to be easier than debugging an AI system. Anyway, fine, let's do this." And so the plan was set into motion. Skylar Brooks disappeared. And Janet Bell, the brand-new janitor at NovaTech, was born. Her once straightened hair now flowed into soft, natural curls, inexpensive stainless steel, faux earrings dangled from her ears, thick $3 plastic glasses perched on her nose, and a baggy gray uniform hung off her frame. From tech queen to a quiet girl pushing a janitor's cart. No one recognized her, not even Travis Cole. The man who would soon taste his own medicine bothered to lift his head when assigning her first task. Skylar chuckled inwardly. "All right, Janet, time to go all in." On her first night at NovaTech, Janet Bell, or rather Skylar Brooks in disguise, quickly got her first bitter taste of invisibility training. Everything played out exactly as her father had warned. She pushed her cleaning cart through the bustling office corridors. No one looked up. Someone even bumped into her shoulder and merely muttered, "Oh, sorry. Make sure it's clean, okay?" When Skylar silently emptied trash bins in the conference room, the marketing team chatted animatedly about bonuses and pay raises right in front of her, as if Janet Bell were just some humanoid vacuum cleaner, the worst offender. None other than Travis Cole, head of operations. A man in his 40s, always impeccably tucked into his shiny dress shirts, wearing a perpetual sneer, as if the world owed him an apology. Travis took special care of Janet. Just after she finished cleaning the conference room, he deliberately stomped across the floor with his dirty shoes and grumbled, "This is what you call clean blind, or just lazy." He pointed at an imaginary stain on the sink and made her wipe it down 3 times in a row. Another time he accidentally dropped a cup of coffee, then sneered, "Oops, clumsy me. Clean it up and make it quick." Skylar gritted her teeth and endured it. Inside her mind, an alarm blared loudly. Level 99, corruption detected. But it wasn't just Travis. An entire culture of indifference and contempt toward labor workers was festering beneath the surface. A female team leader from the legal department casually barked, "Clean my desk, will you? Oh, and be careful not to touch the $50 million contract I just signed." A young IT guy snickered that she wiped tables like scrubbing an old junky mouse. Skylar quietly committed it all to memory. Half joking, half serious, she thought. If I earned $1 every time someone looked down on me, I could probably buy this whole building by now. But deep down she understood. Every humiliation today was evidence for the reckoning to come. And Travis Cole, along with his cronies, had no idea they were slowly digging their own graves. On her 3rd night of work, as Skylar was bending down to scrub the last stubborn stains off the executive floor hallway, Travis Cole, the volcano waiting to erupt, strode toward her. In his hand, a large cup of ice water. On his face, a smug, malicious grin. Skylar looked up just in time to hear Travis mutter, "Some people never learn time for your final lesson." Before she could react, he dumped the entire cup of freezing water straight over her head. The water poured through her hair, streamed down her face, and soaked through her uniform. The cleaning solution she had just used hadn't even dried yet, and now mixed with the icy spill, turning the floor dangerously slick. Skylar staggered slightly, her footing slipping. For a moment, the world seemed to freeze. The dripping water echoed against the polished tiles, blending with Travis's cold chuckle. "Now you've got something real to mop up." Janet, around them a few employees, witnessed the scene, but no one stepped in. Some pretended to be busy on their phones. Others simply turned away in silence. Skylar gripped the mop handle tighter, swallowing down the furious storm rising inside her. She wanted to hurl the mop straight at his smug face. She wanted to scream, "You just signed your own termination papers." But no, not now, not yet. With astonishing patience, Skylar bowed her head and muttered a sentence only she could hear. "Play big. Travis, I'm about to make you the brightest star in this whole company." In Skylar's tear-soaked eyes, at that moment, there was no trace of Janet. The pitiful janitor. There was only Skylar Brooks, the woman who would crush every abuser of power with the silent force she carried. Tonight's ice water ambush. It was merely the opening shot of an epic reckoning that was fast approaching. If Travis Cole was the dark king who ruled the 41st floor with his petty acts of humiliation, no worries. Skylar was about to discover that this kingdom of darkness had a lot more loyal subjects than she had expected. And they were all Oscar-worthy performers. Derek Simmons, the master of polished bullying position. Director of Marketing. Self-proclaimed creative inspiration leader. Favorite hobby. Hosting zero-tolerance cleaning tests for janitorial staff. Every time Skylar entered Derek's office, a booby-trapped battlefield awaited her. Papers scattered across the desk like a bomb had gone off. A coffee cup placed precariously on the desk's edge, ready to topple into the trash with the slightest nudge. Sticky notes strewn across the floor like fallen petals. And when Skylar finally finished cleaning, dripping with sweat, Derek would stroll in, glance around, and smirk. This level of cleaning. Sorry, still not up to my marketing standards. And then start over. From scratch 3 times, not sure if she was cleaning the office or being trained to become a floor-mopping ninja at lightning speed. Karen Mitchell, the queen of fake HR empathy position, director of human resources, the smiling goddess featured on every safe space poster in the company. Favorite hobby. Listening to abuse reports and then replying, "Thank you for sharing. Stay strong." Okay. When Skylar taking a risk brought up Travis's water-pouring incident to Karen, she thought she'd finally find protection. But no. Karen, while gracefully pouring herself a cup of tea, sweetly said, Yes, I understand. But you know, it's very competitive here. You should get used to it." And then gently showed Skylar the door as if she were an unexpected guest who had wandered into the wrong house. The "Your Voice Matters" poster hanging next to Karen. At that moment looked even faker than her rehearsed smile. Veronica Wells, the drama queen in high heels position. Vice President of Sales can close $1 million deal and slap an employee without blinking. Favorite hobby. Reshaping employee attitudes with the palm of her hand. One day when Skylar politely reminded Veronica that the meeting room needed to be cleared per the scheduled maintenance, Veronica exploded. Before Skylar could even process what was happening, whack! She was slapped across the face. Full force. A floor scrubber dares to speak up. Around here, you're just air. That slap didn't just leave a red mark on Skylar's cheek. It carved something deep into her heart. If I don't stand up now, I'm basically signing my name to let these people rule forever. Skylar knew this wasn't the time for solitary rage anymore. She had to be strategic, operate in silence, gather her ammunition before striking back. And so the secret takedown plan began. Skylar understood clearly, to change a rotten system, you can't just scream about it. You need proof. You need to strike at the heart of it, in front of everyone. And so she started restructuring her mop, the mop. Or Zero, the hidden assassin. A regular mop. No, not too obvious. Skylar discreetly embedded a mini camera into the mop handle so skillfully that even if Travis or Derek shone a flashlight on it, they'd just think it was a scratch on the paint. Inside the mop bucket, Skylar hid a micro voice recorder sensitive enough to pick up Derek's complaints about the sound the rag made. Operation Record Capture. Collect. Begins. Every night, as Skylar mopped the floors, she collected evidence, gliding quietly past. Leaked conversations, selling confidential company information to competitors. Derek daydreaming about his multi-million-dollar bonus. Phantom invoices siphoning money from the employee welfare fund into Karen's private account. Schemes between Travis and Veronica to divide the throne and oust Robert Williams from his CEO seat. Everything, every word, every crooked smile was captured. Unintentional comedy moments. One time, while Skylar was attaching a temporary camera onto her mop handle. Derek nearly bumped into her. Skylar quickly pretended to be untangling a strand of hair from the broomstick, while Derek scoffed. "Even janitors these days gotta be all dolled up, huh?" Another time, while secretly recording Travis handing stolen documents to a rival, Travis slipped on the very puddle he had spilled the day before to mock her. Skylar had to bite her lip hard not to laugh out loud. Karma in its purest form. The silent oath. Every meter of floor she cleaned. Every recording she secured. Skylar repeated to herself, "I'm not just fighting for myself. I'm fighting for everyone who's ever been treated like furniture in this building." Her gaze now was no longer that of an obedient Janet. It was the gaze of a future CEO cleaning out the real filth hiding within the organization. Only one step remained. Expose them before the entire board of directors, right under the spotlight. And Skylar was ready for the ultimate reveal. That morning, on the 42nd floor inside Starwave Technologies' largest conference room, tension hung thick in the air. 10 a.m. Sharp. All senior executives had been summoned for an unexpected emergency meeting. Travis, hands trembling as he clutched his Starbucks cup. Karen fixing her makeup while thinking. Probably another speech about some hollow culture nonsense. Veronica, adjusting her hair, prepping her usual queen bee entrance. Derek yawning. Wide clearly still hungover from last night's business dinner. Only one person wasn't the least bit nervous. A janitor pushing a battered mop bucket into the room. Janet. No one spared her a second glance, except Robert Williams. Skylar's father, who gave his daughter a brief knowing look, before turning away the faintest smile on his lips. Everything was in place. Get her out of here. Gerald barked the wrong order. The moment Travis spotted Janet lingering near the door, he barked, "Hey, you! This is a private meeting. Janitor's out." A few executives snickered under their breath, eyes full of disdain. Skylar stayed silent. She calmly set the mop aside in the corner. Then slowly, she walked to the center of the room. A jaw-dropping unmasking. She pulled off the headscarf, revealing the voluminous hair once gracing business magazine covers. She slipped off the cheap plastic glasses, replacing them with a pair of sleek designer frames that shimmered under the lights. She unzipped the janitor's uniform. Underneath was a sharply tailored CEO-grade suit. The entire room froze, jaws dropping as if they'd just seen a ghost in broad daylight. Karen dropped her stack of documents. Derek nearly spilled his coffee. Veronica stood there, eyes wide in horror, looking ready to faint. Only Travis managed to stammer, "You're—" Skylar smiled a smile as sweet as it was razor sharp. "I'm Skylar Williams, the designated successor to the CEO position at Starwave Technologies. And today, I have a few things to discuss." Rolling the tape, leaving no room for denial. Skylar clicked a remote. The giant screen behind her lit up. Footage of Travis pouring water over her head. Footage of Karen dismissing abuse complaints and treating employees like trash. Footage of Derek siphoning off employee welfare funds. Footage of Veronica slapping her across the face, accompanied by audio recordings, embezzlement emails, and proof of insider information being sold to competitors. There was no escape. Immediate consequences. Termination on the spot. Chairman Robert stood up and declared, "As chairman, I hereby terminate the employment contracts of Travis Bennett." Karen Mitchell, Derek Phillips, and Veronica Wells. Effective immediately. Security guards entered the room. The faces of Travis, Derek, Veronica, and Karen turned pale, like they had just seen their faces on a missing persons poster. Travis dropped to his knees, pleading, It was just a joke, Miss Skylar. Please, give me another chance." Karen, tear-streaked, sobbed. "There must be some misunderstanding. I was just following protocol," Veronica shouted. "I'll sue. I have lawyers." Skylar simply responded, voice calm as ice. "Feel free to use whatever creativity you have left to find a new job." From the humiliated to the one holding power. Every gaze in the room shifted toward her, no longer with disdain, but with awe and respect. Skylar hadn't just flipped the script. She rewrote the rules entirely, and this time, everyone would understand. A true leader starts by understanding life from the ground up. As Gerald, Karen, Derek, and Veronica were one by one escorted out of Starwave Technologies by security, the atmosphere inside the conference room shifted entirely. No more smug laughter, no more condescending stares, only faces tense as pulled strings and eyes too afraid to even breathe loudly. Skylar Williams. Official CEO Robert stood up, stepping into the center of the room and slowly declared, "Allow me to introduce Skylar Williams, the new CEO of Starwave Technologies, the one who just taught us the most expensive lesson of all. Respect begins with the smallest of things." Everyone rose to their feet in applause, this time not out of flattery, but out of genuine respect. Skylar stepped forward, adjusted the microphone, her gaze sharp, yet her smile warm. Starwave doesn't just need groundbreaking ideas. It needs a heart big enough to uplift even the quietest individuals among us. Starting today, every voice from the janitor to the director holds the same value in this company. The entire conference room fell silent. The air was as heavy as thunderclouds before a long overdue storm of change. The first act. The historic mop cart. Under the curious eyes of the entire leadership team, Skylar turned toward the battered old mop cart she had used for the past 2 weeks. She wheeled it into the center of the conference room, and then, with great formality, she signed her name right there across the faded water bucket. "This mop cart will be displayed in the main lobby," she announced, as a reminder that true leadership begins with gratitude and silent action. Some younger executives nearly teared up, and someone quietly snapped a photo to post on LinkedIn almost immediately. A new Starwave. No more invisible people. Within just 6 months after the Skylar earthquake, every employee, from security guards to janitors to maintenance crew, had the right to attend feedback meetings. The lounge for the logistics and housekeeping team was upgraded extravagantly, featuring a coffee machine fancier than the one in the executive suites. Each quarter, the leadership board was required to swap roles for half a day to experience the job firsthand from various frontline positions. And most importantly, salaries and benefits for the logistics and housekeeping departments were adjusted fairly and at levels unprecedented in the company's history. Skylar, a different kind of leader. Skylar wasn't the type to stay locked behind glass walls all day. She regularly showed up at the cafeteria, sitting and sharing meals with the cleaning staff, the operations floor, chatting with technicians, mopping the floors, the parking lot, helping employees push stuck carts. That image spread like wildfire. The internet gave her a new nickname: the most powerful CEO with a mop in America. A lesson for life. One late afternoon, as she passed through the company lobby, Skylar paused before the displayed mop cart. She gently placed her hand on it, eyes thoughtful, from a Harvard graduate to someone who endured the cold stares and indignities faced by the most invisible workers. And now the one breathing warmth back into an entire empire. In short, this wasn't just a spectacular unmasking. It was a journey from theory to empathy, from pride to humility. And Skylar had won not just on the executive board, but in the hearts of those who had once been unseen.